Ever since I grew up, football's kind of all I knew with my older brother and my younger sister.
From a backyard academy run by his father to captaining Chelsea, Reece James's journey reads like a legend carved long before the world noticed. Raised under the sharp eye of his father, Nigel James, a former semi-pro who built a youth academy from the ground up, Reece grew up in a household where football wasn't just encouraged, it was engineered. Sharing that intensity with his siblings, Joshua and Lauren, he sharpened his talent in family battles that turned into history. Years later, he and Lauren would become the first brother-sister duo to ever represent England at senior level in the modern era, a milestone that transformed their childhood rivalry into national pride. And as the world watched him rise, from academy prodigy to Champions League winner and Chelsea captain, it became clear Reece James isn't just playing football, he's building a legacy with every stride, every challenge, every breath. Welcome to the life of Reece James, where power meets purpose. Reece James was born in Redbridge, Greater London, into a home where football beat like a second heart. His father, Nigel, a former semi-pro and youth coach, shaped the rhythms of each day, while his mother, Emma, steadied the tempo, keeping school, training, and life in perfect time. Reece grew up in the crossfire of sibling rivalry and love, an older brother, Joshua, to chase, and a younger sister, Lauren, close behind. In parks and back gardens, their contests crackled like summer thunderstorms, dribbling duels, juggling races, late-day shootouts, until the light ran thin. Reece listened to Nigel's post-match talks for Josh, soaking up lessons like dry earth taking rain. Lauren studied both brothers and sharpened her edge with every touch. The boy in the oversized Chelsea shirt was a dreamer and a craftsman. From Q Park Rangers to Epsom Eagles, Reece James's rise into professional football unfolded like a storm, slowly gathering strength. Quiet at first, then rolling forward with unstoppable force. His foundation had been built in Chelsea's academy, where he spent his youth being reshaped again and again like metal under a blacksmith's hammer, tested in multiple positions until right back became the armor that suited him best. By 2017, the signs of something special were unmistakable. With the composure of someone far beyond his years, Reece captained Chelsea's U18s to victory in the FA Youth Cup, and his performances earned him the Academy Player of the Season award. It was as if lightning had cracked across the horizon, bright, sudden, impossible to overlook. Yet destiny required a proving ground, and his came in the unforgiving world of the Championship during his loan to Wigan Athletic in 2018. The league hit hard and fast, its physicality crashing into him like waves against a cliff. But instead of eroding him, it carved him into something stronger. Reece met every challenge head-on, growing sharper, tougher, and more assured with every match. By the time he returned to Chelsea, he felt less like a young player returning from loan and more like a forged blade ready for battle. His breakthrough into the Chelsea first team in 2019 was electric. His crosses sliced through defensive lines with the precision of an arrow in flight, while his composure under pressure grounded the team like an anchor dropped into turbulent waters. And then came 2021, a year that carved his name into European football's history. Reece played a pivotal role as Chelsea lifted the UEFA Champions League, followed closely by the UEFA Super Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup, a trio of triumphs that marked his transformation from promising talent to proven champion. By 2023, Chelsea placed the captain's armband on his arm, a symbol heavy with legacy and expectation. Reece wore it with the quiet confidence of a leader born rather than made. Under his guidance, the club found new glory in 2025, clinching both the UEFA Conference League and another FIFA Club World Cup. In those victories, his leadership felt steady and inevitable, like gravity itself, pulling his team towards success. His rise with England mirrored his ascent at club level. After progressing through youth ranks, Reece made his senior debut in 2020, quickly becoming a vital force on the right flank. His blend of strength, intelligence and control made him indispensable to the national side. And in a moment that felt almost mythic, he and his sister Lauren became the first brother-sister duo to represent England at senior level in the modern era, a living testament to the remarkable journey they both carved. Off the pitch, Reece James lives a life far softer than the intensity he carries onto the field. His personal world moves with the calm of a slow-moving tide, protected from the noise of fame. And at its center stands Mia Florence McClenaghan, the woman he has quietly built a life with. By 2025, their relationship is well known but never flaunted, kept close like something precious he refuses to expose to the public storm. Together, they move through the world almost unnoticed, two silhouettes blending into London streets. Their bond feels less like the chaotic glow of celebrity romance and more like a steady flame, warm and constant. Some accounts even describe Reece as engaged to Mia, a sign of just how deeply rooted their connection has become. In her presence, he swaps the sharp edges of competition for quiet laughter and soft conversation, finding peace the way a weary traveler finds shelter. But love is only part of the foundation that steadies him. His family, especially his sister Lauren James, remains woven into every corner of his life. Their bond is more than sibling affection. It is a shared destiny. Rising together through England's ranks, they became the first brother-sister duo to represent the national team at senior level in the modern era, a moment that felt almost mythic, as if scripted long before either of them touched a professional pitch. These relationships, Mia's quiet support and his family's unwavering presence, form the compass he returns to when the stadium lights dim. They keep him grounded, reminding him he is more than a captain or a defender. They offer him the kind of stillness that settles the heart, like a calm harbor after the wild surge of a matchday storm. Now let's get into the money talks. His wealth hasn't arrived with a drumroll so much as a steadily rising tide, the kind that reshapes a shoreline while the world stares at the horizon. The turning point came in September 2022, when Chelsea slid a contract across the table that read like a manifesto of belief. 6 years, £78 million in total value, roughly £13 million per year, £250,000 a week, making him the highest paid defender in the club's history at the time. The deal runs through 2028, anchoring his earnings with the weight of a battleship's mooring line. Even as seasons turned and managers changed, the financial spine held. By 2025, reporting still placed him on a Chelsea package worth about £52 million remaining, translating again to approximately £13 million yearly before bonuses. Proof that the salary engine kept humming like a V12 beneath the bonnet. Net worth estimates climbed in lockstep. In 2023, assessments hovered near £7 million. By 2024, they reached $11 million. And in 2025, they range from approximately £8 million on the conservative side to approximately $30 million on the bullish, depending on methodology and what's counted. Like watching a city skyline grow floor by floor, the trajectory was unmistakable, even if different surveyors measured different heights. But salary is only one pillar of the structure. In front of a camera's white-hot gaze, James laces Nike Mercurial Vapor 14 elite boots, the visible tip of a broader Nike endorsement that puts brand heft behind his image and adds multi-million upside typical for elite internationals. It's not just a photo op, it's a revenue stream that flows even when hamstrings need a rest. Then there's the marketplace's verdict on Reece as an asset. His peak transfer value has been cited around £50 million, with more recent readings stabilizing near £40 million. Numbers that sway like a ship on the current, but still signal blue-chip status at right-back. Market value doesn't hit his bank account directly, yet it frames negotiations, bonuses, and the leverage that underwrites future deals. Beyond pitch and posters, reporting points to a broader portfolio. Real estate buys that appreciate quietly while he trains, and personal merchandise that turns global fan energy into recurring cash flow. The financial equivalent of second-phase attacks, arriving late and dangerous. These claims vary by source, and precise holdings aren't publicly itemized, but they sketch a sensible picture of diversification for a player in his prime. All of it adds up to a career engineered with the patience of a stonemason, a fortress built brick by brick. Salary, endorsements, bonuses, image rights, and reported property and merch plays, each block laid level with an eye on the horizon rather than the headline. If the public Reece is a thunderbolt down the right flank, The private Reece is a careful architect, measuring twice, cutting once, and letting the compound interest do the cheering. Moving to the big guns now, we have his garage. First, the silhouette that needs no introduction, a Mercedes AMG G63, square-jawed, lantern-eyed, the SUV equivalent of a heavyweight in a tailored tux. A press of the starter and the twin-turbo V8 clears its throat, 577 horsepower rolling out like storm clouds over a calm pitch. It will surge to 100 kilometers per hour in about 4.7 seconds, an arrow loosed from a fortress wall, and it carries the kind of out-the-door sticker that matches its presence. From roughly £189,375 in the UK, with special editions climbing higher. But not every day asks for a battering ram. Some mornings call for something that cuts rather than crushes. That's when he slides into the Mercedes AMG GLE Coupe. Sleek as a Panther mid-prowl, its roofline falling away like a stitched seam in a Savile Row coat. Underneath, an AMG GL E53 spec brings a muscular six-cylinder with hybrid assistance, the sort of setup that makes commutes feel like silent sprints. New examples in the UK list from about £103,880, with real-world dealer stock orbiting the six-figure mark, depending on trim and options. That pairing, G63 for presence, GLE Coupe for poise, reads like a two-car biography. The G-Wagon is the captain's growl, the hard stop, the statement. The Coupe is the glide, the early cross, the hush between stadium roars. Reports have spotted these exact personalities in his lineup. The G63 as the crown jewel and the GLE Coupe as the elegant daily, each chosen with the same economy of waste you see in his defending. Even the numbers hum in harmony with the image. Factory guides peg the G63's UK price ladder starting just below £190,000, while the AMG GLE Coupe in 53 guise opens around £104,000, with used and special editions ranging widely across dealer lots across Europe. Proof that these aren't impulse toys, but serious, meticulously spec'd machines. Up next, his mansions. Home, for him, isn't a single address. It's a pair of sanctuaries that hold the chaos at bay like seawalls, holding back a rising tide. In Surrey, his first great refuge sits discreetly behind security gates, a modern manor with glass that catches the afternoon sun like polished armor. The place became a talking point in 2021 for all the wrong reasons, when thieves breached the property while he was playing and hauled off a safe. Coverage at the time put the house around £2.5 million, a figure that has since become shorthand for its scale and status. The episode underlined why players choose this county: space, privacy, and the calm of green lanes just far enough from the city's thrum. The wider portrait, Surrey lawns rolling out like velvet and interiors tuned for recovery days rather than photo ops, matches how lifestyle outlets describe the area and the kind of high-spec homes elite footballers favor. But the countryside is only half the map. On the city's edge, within one of London's most coveted gated enclaves, he keeps a second sanctuary where silence feels curated. Reports place him on the Wentworth estate, a byword for discretion and long tree-lined plots. Houses here can command £5 to £10 million, depending on acreage and fit out, the sort of numbers that move like low thunder through the property pages. The tone is different from Surrey. Less fortress, more gallery, minimal lines, warm light pooled across wide rooms, and a garden sealed by hedges so dense they read like a green curtain. It's London without the glare, proximity without exposure, a life lived in the slipstream of the capital rather than its headwinds. But homes and luxury cars are not the only thing Reece spends his money on. He splurges on polished metal, fine leather, and fabrics that fall just right, like moonlight draped over a shoulder. The first tell is at his wrist. James curates time the way a collector curates art, Rolex pieces for the everyday flex, often trading in the $10,000 to $20,000 lane, while the apex of his box climbs into rare air. Audemars Piguet, Royal Oak references cresting $250,000 plus, and Richard Mille, models with price-on-request decals that speak for themselves. One standout, The Richard Mille RM6702 reads like a white quill on the skin. Ultralight quartz, TPT, with a list around $187,000 and a secondary market that can arc toward approximately $375,000, the horological equivalent of a counterattack that turns to gold. The same precision threads through his wardrobe. James treats clothing like tactics. Angle, balance, surprise. He's been singled out for bold, street-leaning luxury. Think premium Avirex leather and eye-catching color plays. Styling choices that move like a well-timed overlap. Sharp, confident, intentional. And when fashion calls him to the spotlight, he answers without flinching, striding the Namia's SS-25 runway in Los Angeles in November 2024, swapping studs for a navy boiler suit and turning the catwalk into another touchline to command. Even the small luxuries whisper quality, immaculate cuts, and grooming that fans try to mimic. Luxe lounge fits that make off-duty moments look editorial, and a steady cadence of premium pieces that layer together like chords, subtle alone, symphonic together. It's not excess, it's curation. James' Reece life has not always been rosy. He has faced some challenges over the years. It started with a flashpoint he didn't even play in. After a 1-0 loss to Aston Villa in September 2023, James, injured and watching on, was charged by the FA for allegedly using improper and slash or abusive language toward officials in the tunnel, a hairline crack in a reputation built on composure. 2 years later, the dressing room trembled. In September 2025, reports claimed Enzo Fernandez publicly blasted teammate Nicholas Jackson, and the captain stepped in, drawing a line in the sand with a firm public defense that turned a private rift into a referendum on leadership and unity. Even praise bred turbulence. In March 2025, a segment of an interview where James hailed Thomas Tuchel as the best coach he'd worked with was reportedly deleted by ITV, sparking speculation about editorial pressure and club politics. Another gust in a season already rich with crosswinds. The national stage offered no shelter. As scrutiny swirled around Tuchel with England despite wins, James's robust public backing of the manager poured fuel on the discourse, admired by some as loyalty, framed by others as overreach. Proof that a captain's voice can cut like a blade or bind like thread, depending on who's listening. And when critics painted Chelsea as undisciplined after a flurry of reds and bookings, James pushed back, arguing the incidents were split-second tangles rather than systemic rot, stepping once more into the eye of the storm to shield his side. Through tunnel charges and deleted clips, fractured rooms and forensic punditry, one pattern holds. In the quiet after matches, James meets controversy like a last-ditch block, timed, committed, and unafraid of the impact. And that's Reece James behind the scenes. A life lined with quiet luxury, sharp choices, and the kind of calm confidence that moves like silk. If you enjoyed stepping into his world, hit like, subscribe, and we'll unlock the next story soon.